Hello, everybody. This is the Pocket Passer. I'm your host, Randy White. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. I know I am. It's Wednesday. We're doing back-to-back uploads today. Can you guys believe it? I know I can't, but we're going to keep this rolling. Right now, I'm reacting to the Madden ratings that have been released so far by EA Sports. EA Sports went ahead and they so far released running back ratings, wide receiver ratings, edge rusher ratings, and also offensive line. I'm going to be reacting to the top 10 running backs, top 10 wide receivers, and then top 10 edge rushers because they did a three-way tie for fourth place, and I have a heavy bone to pick with that three-way tie at edge rusher. So we're going to start off with running backs. The number one running back, Nick Chubb, at 97 overall. I don't know if I completely agree, but I don't have a problem with it. Nick Chubb is a fantastic running back, and frankly, he's been somewhat underrated by the NFL community because the Browns' offensive line is good, and Kevin Stefanski has created a primarily run-heavy scheme. So they feel like, Nick Chubb doesn't get quite the volume of yards because he's sharing carries with another high-quality running back in Kareem Hunt, player who one of my friends has stupidly claimed is better than Nick Chubb. He's not going to be happy at me for making fun of him, but I'm sending him this clip once I break this down in the Instagram clips because it's a terrible take and he's an idiot. Christian McCaffrey at 2 with 96 overall. Again, don't have a problem with it. I think Christian McCaffrey is arguably the best running back in the league, so I don't have a problem with them being 1 overall apart. And I think 97 overall is probably a good cap for the running backs that we have. I don't think there's anyone that goes, whoa, this is a next level. This is the best running back I've seen in 5 years, to where this guy's blowing me away with his ability and he's doing stuff that very few people have seen in the past, to where they have to be a 99. So I'm okay with the 97 overall and the 96 overall rating there. Number 3, the leading rusher in the league last year, Josh Jacobs, has finally earned himself respect. I've been saying for years now that he's a good player. He balled out last year and he got himself a name for himself. I like these ratings so far. Derrick Henry at 4, 94 overall. Once again, I don't have a problem with it. I think so far, when I'm looking at these ratings, not a bad job by EA Sports with the running back ratings. Then you got Saquon Barkley at 5, earning himself back into a respectable category with 93 overall after coming back from injury and arguably being comeback player of the year. He didn't win the award, but he was in the running of it because of his performances last year and how good he was and how important he was to that Giants offense, which is going to need him this year if he plays on the franchise tag, which if he saw what Le'Veon Bell did, he better play. It's gonna be really bad for his career, and he's gonna lose a lot of money trying to gain money if he decides not to play on the franchise tag. So I would strongly advise that he does that because Le'Veon Bell lost millions of dollars trying to gain money. It's just not worth it to try and leverage that. He definitely needs to play. Number 6, Dalvin Cook at 91 overall, the free agent running back. Surely will be signed soon by someone. He's definitely an excellent talent. I don't know about him at 6. Personally, I like Austin Eckler better, and I think you could argue pushing Eckler into the top 5, potentially ahead of Saquon or Derrick Henry because of how good he's been, especially as a receiving back. But I certainly think Eckler is better than Cook. I wouldn't mind flipping them. But Dalvin Cook is ahead of him by 2 overalls at a 91 overall. And then you got a 2-way tie at 7 with Austin Eckler and Jonathan Taylor at an 89 overall. Jonathan Taylor took a big leap forward after being fantastic 2 seasons ago, rushing for 2,000 yards. And then he takes a step back after a down year, undoubtedly, last year. So he is even with Austin Eckler at an 89 overall. And I think that's probably a fair place to put it. At the same time, I don't know how fair it is to kill Jonathan Taylor's rating after 1 down year, but I get why they would do it. And then 9 and 10 are tied, so there's a 2-way tie at 9 with Tony Pollard and Aaron Jones, each at an 88 overall. I personally think Aaron Jones is better. You could consider that biased, okay? You could consider that biased, but I personally think Aaron Jones probably fits somewhere in that 8 to 10 range for running back. He's certainly not outside the top 10, but I think anywhere in that 7, 8 to 10 range for rankings is a fair place to put Aaron Jones. So really, everyone likes to hate on EA Sports, and I'll do my fair share of hating on EA Sports as I talk about their Madden ratings more. But honestly, props to them. The running back list is very solid. I really don't have a major problem with it. So now jumping to edge rushers, and here's where I've got a big issue. So first, it starts off fine. I'm cool with Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett being tied at 1 for a 98 overall. I'm not really cool with them being at 1, but I'm cool with a 98 overall for them. And I understand why the guy I want to be 1 isn't, due to injury last year. He played in just 10 games last year, so I get it. But I expect him to be ranked higher, and he should have been ranked higher going into last year, considering the fact that he tied the sack record at 22.5 and had an unbelievable season, despite the fact that he missed 3 games in that season. He came in last year at a 96 overall. Number 3, I'll get to him in a second. Number 3, Micah Parsons at a 97 overall. Again, fair. I think Parsons is somewhere fitting in that 95 to 97 range. I think that's fair. I think they put him a little bit on the high end of where I maybe would rank him, but he is an unbelievable edge rusher. It makes complete sense why they're switching him to be primarily an edge rusher this year, because despite the fact that he was a linebacker, a middle linebacker at Notre Dame primarily, he's an incredible pass rusher. What he's able to do on the edge is nothing short of fantastic. So he is definitely deserving of being somewhere in the top 5. 3 to 5 range is definitely where he fits. Now the 3-way tie at 4 is between TJ Watt, Von Miller, and Max Crosby. I think of those 3 guys, 2 of them absolutely belong in the top 5, and I think they're unequivocally at least slightly better than Von Miller. Von Miller is still fantastic, and he played very well last year in the games he played before going down with his ACL injury, so he is deserving of having a high rating, and maybe a 94 overall is right for him, and these other 2 guys are just too low. But TJ Watt and Max Crosby are both premier edge rushers. Obviously, Von Miller is too, but TJ Watt and Max Crosby, to me, are both still in that top tier. I think TJ Watt is the best edge rusher in the league. I think them putting him at 94 overall, 4 overall points below Nick Bosa, is flat out criminal. I just talked about how him being at a 96 despite tying the sack record was just a vile decision making by EA Sports. This is a tremendous failure. I talked about how well they did with the running backs, but having TJ Watt as low as they have him is a tremendous failure and a tremendous disrespect on just how fantastic of a player he is. I believe he's like pretty much clearly the best edge rusher in the league. I understand if they don't want to rank him 1 because of his injuries last year and only playing 10 games, but there's no doubt in my mind that he is the most valuable defensive player in the entire NFL. I've never seen a team that is so dependent on one singular defensive player's presence to be successful. The Pittsburgh Steelers with TJ Watt and the Pittsburgh Steelers without TJ Watt are 2 completely different teams. They are a losing record team without TJ Watt, and with TJ Watt, they're a playoff team. If TJ Watt does not tear his pec, I have very little doubt in my mind the Steelers make the playoffs last year. They almost made the playoffs despite his injury. When he came back, they started winning again, and they made it close at the end. He's an unbelievable player, a true difference maker to the highest degree you can have on the defensive side of the ball in this modern era of football. I think having him at a 94 overall is simply criminal. I think Max Crosby probably deserves somewhere in that 94 to 96 range. I think that's fair. And I think Von Miller is somewhere in that 92 to 94 range. So I think that's relatively fair as well. But I think they're heavily disrespecting TJ Watt with the ratings both last year and this year. EA Sports apparently needs to watch some film on the best edge rusher in football. So now, wide receivers. Number 1 is obvious. We could have guessed this a mile away. Justin Jefferson, the lone 99 overall wide receiver for Madden this year. It's Justin Jefferson. He's unbelievable. I mean, going back to that 4th and 18 catch against the Bills, and all sorts of other spectacular plays he's managed to make this year. I mean, one of the best jump ball receivers in the league, one of the best route runners in the league. Game-transforming speed, agility, quickness, awareness, with the exception of that post route against the Eagles in Week 2, which was his fault when Kirk Cousins threw that pick to Darius Slay. But other than that, elite awareness, elite intelligence. He's the complete package, and I completely understand them putting him at 1. And then there's kind of a toss-up between 2 and 3. EA Sports has made their decision with Tyreek Hill at 2 at a 98 overall and Davante Adams at 3 with a 97 overall. I don't have a problem with it. I love Davante Adams. I think Davante Adams is the 2nd best receiver in the league. But I don't at all mind having him at 3. I think all 3 of those guys you could argue being the best receiver in the league. I think Justin Jefferson deserves that title after what he's done the last 2 seasons, but I think you could definitely make an argument for all 3 of these top 3 guys to be the best. Now, a 2-way tie at 4, Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, of course, was unequivocally the best receiver in the league, or at least 2. Back when the Rams won the Super Bowl, he was injured most of last year, didn't have his quarterback healthy, and the entire offensive line just took a massive hit in productivity. So he's got to drop a little bit. I don't mind keeping him as high as he is at 96, though. So I don't mind having him tied with Stephon Diggs at 96. I think Stephon Diggs is in the right spot. I think he's the 4th best receiver in the league. And then jump to number 6, Jamar Chase at a 94 overall. I think they have his rating right. I think he belongs in that 93 to 95 range. I think 94 is just about perfect. I would maybe say a 95 overall, but I think they nailed this. So far, the ratings look right for the players. Not necessarily the placement, but the ratings look right for the players. So 7, DeAndre Hopkins. Now here's where I kind of say slow down a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins is a 93 overall, and this is where I think Madden shows their inconsistencies. DeAndre Hopkins has been in and out of injury the last 2 seasons, and they still put him as high as he is as a 93 overall. Yet TJ Watt has one slightly injured season and then breaks and ties the sack record another season, and they put him just 1 overall higher. So there's kind of this imbalance of logic that EA likes to use, where they say, oh, injury, so I'm going to lower him here, but then lack of productivity for this guy and injury here, and I'm not going to lower him as much. So there's not a lot of sound logic that goes into this. I think if you're going to be if you're going to make decisions to lower guys based off of injury, you got to be a little more consistent. DeAndre Hopkins is aging as well, over 30. So you got to put that into play as well. I don't necessarily hate a 93 overall for DeAndre Hopkins, but I think specifically the guy they have at 9, who I'm going to get to in just a second, is better and is deserving of arguable top 5 positioning. Number 8, Terry McLaurin. I love them giving credit and respect to Terry McLaurin. A lot of people kind of ignore him because he has been placed with mediocrity at the quarterback position his entire career, but despite that, he still puts up elite numbers. He's a fantastic receiver and undoubtedly deserving of a 92 overall rating and the 8th best receiver in Madden. So I appreciate EA Sports giving him the respect he deserves. Good on them for that. But now we'll get to the part where I heavily disagree, which is 9 and 10. 9, A.J. Brown at a 91 overall, I think is just criminal disrespect. He's better than DeAndre Hopkins, plain and simple. I mentioned it yesterday when I was talking about how it doesn't make sense for the Titans to not sign DeAndre Hopkins, trade him, use the trade pick that they got to draft a guy who likes the forward lateral in games. That part's obviously a joke. They didn't know he was going to do that. But then to go ahead and sign a guy with a similar play style to A.J. Brown, only he's not as physical as he used to be. He's probably still a better jump ball receiver than A.J. Brown, but not by much. And he doesn't have the same speed and strength that A.J. Brown has because he's older. A.J. Brown is younger and better right now. I do not understand how they're going to put him at a 91 overall. It honestly blows my mind. I think he's clearly deserving of somewhere in that 94 to 96 range for an overall rating. I think A.J. Brown's earned to be in that top 5 conversation at the very least. Not necessarily having to put him at 5 or 4, but in the conversation, somewhere around 6 or 7, either in front of or behind Jamar Chase, maybe even in front of Cooper Kupp, depending on how you feel about how far he should be dropped there. So A.J. Brown is being blatantly disrespected, I believe. And Amari Cooper at 10, who is a good receiver. He's a very good receiver. Don't get me wrong. He was arguably top 5 for a season or 2 in Dallas. But the reality is CeeDee Lamb is a better receiver than him. CeeDee Lamb's at 11 and a 90 overall. And coming from someone who's owning their mistake, because last year I said I didn't believe CeeDee Lamb had the chops to be a number 1 receiver and really take control of the offense without someone else to draw threats away. Clearly, I was wrong because he was fantastic last year. He's 100% deserving of number 1 receiver credit, and I think he's a top 10 receiver. I think he deserves to be right around that 10 spot, and I think he is earned himself a higher ranking than Amari Cooper. I think he should be at 10 ahead of Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper deserves somewhere around an 89, 90 overall rating. I think he's just a little too high. So, once again, EA Sports not terrible. I have a couple strong disagreements, but overall, I think the first 6 ratings are very, very solid. I think they nailed it. I think even DeAndre Hopkins probably has the right number. Terry McLaurin probably has the right number. Really, the only thing I strongly disagree with is I think A.J. Brown is being grossly underrated. I think A.J. Brown needs to be a good 4 or maybe a good 3 to 5 points higher than what he is. So those are the main Madden ratings that are out. They also released the first 3 players in the 99 club: Aaron Donald, Justin Jefferson, and Zack Martin. I touched on Justin Jefferson. Aaron Donald is listed at right end, but he's, of course, an interior rusher who's not one of the people I ranked. So that's why he's not in the edge rusher spot. Now, I do think you could argue Chris Jones ahead of him because of injuries last year. I think there's an argument to be made that Aaron Donald does not necessarily still belong in the 99 club. Let me know what you guys think about that. I am kind of on the fence about it. I don't hate they have him at 99, but you could make a very strong argument that he does not belong there anymore. And also, interesting news, there are talks Zack Martin may not show up to camp because he believes that he is grossly underpaid at his position. He's making somewhere around $14 million a year, which is somewhere in the, 6 to 10 range of his position. There's guys making as much as $6 million a year more than him, and he is arguably the best player at his position in the league right now. So congratulations to him on earning that 99 overall spot, and let's see what happens with that potential holdout with the Dallas Cowboys. That will be very, very interesting. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more content, I'm going to be trying to post as often as possible. This video will probably be uploaded around, midnight tonight. That's when I uploaded the last video. So you guys will be seeing it late. But if you enjoyed this content, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. If you're seeing this in a clip, if you saw anything in a clip on Instagram or TikTok, and if I even post this outro on TikTok or Instagram, I don't really know what I'm going to do with it. If you see that and you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, follow me, leave a like, leave a comment if you have some comments. If you hate what I said, feel free to tell me I'm an idiot. I don't really care. I'll debate you in the comments for all I care. I mean, I find it entertaining. Hopefully you find it entertaining. I appreciate all of you for watching. I will see all of you in the next video.